So someone asked me to do a review and a spec test of the new WEN 6800 watt dual fuel inverter generator. It's the model DF680iX. It's using the same engine that's in their DF480iX. But there is quite a bit of difference. This one's a little bigger because, of course, the inverter generator part is bigger, but it also supplies 220 volts. So, without a delay, I'll give you a little shot here. Let me see if I can get the camera up a little bit more. Turn it down here. It's got a retracting handle, which you press the orange button, I'm sorry, and you pull it out in order to give you enough control to pick it up and move it around. Very handy. Otherwise, and that's because this unit weighs 95 pounds. Looking over some of the specs coming out of the manual, you know, this might be even better bringing it in here, putting it on a table here. Yeah, it's better. They have specs here for running it on gas and propane. So we can get the camera just set up just right for you. And we're going to be doing everything under propane here because running these on gas, a little more maintenance is involved. So their spec is for starting surge is 6,000 watts. Running is 4,500 watts. If you do the breakdown for LP as far as the amps go, if I'm reading this right, under 120 volts, it's 37.5 amps using LPG. Under 240 volts, since it has that capability, it's 8 3/4 amps. Down here we've got half load run times spec'd out of the 224cc engine, which I mentioned earlier. It'll run 9 hours at half load time. I think it'll actually run longer. The spark plug that's included, it's 1 p.m. Wonderful. Is a Chinese F6 RTC. I strongly suggest changing it over to the NGK equivalent, much better spark plug. Another thing to note in here is that I'll show you the dipstick in a second. This dipstick spot is much different than all the other small inverter generators, especially WENs and Westinghouses, where it's a small piece that screws in. This is actually a dipstick. It's an abbreviated size of this dipstick because it's only about this long. But the rules still apply the same. When you go to check the oil level, like it says here, insert the dipstick into the oil fill without screwing it in. I'll show you that in a second. Also, you don't have to worry about switching this over from LP to liquid gas because it has an automatic sensing circuit, so there's no switch to flip for that. It does note that if you are going to be running a load more than 3,000 watts, The generator must run at full speed power for anything over, of course, what it just said, 30,000 watts. So do not engage the eco mode. A lot of you should already know what the eco mode is, but I'll demonstrate that in a minute. I don't think there's anything else here to note. They talk about that's more of a better picture of the dipstick, but I'm going to show you that right now. Without further ado, it's over on this side. And taking this panel off, which it absolutely is no effort at all. During this a quarter turn, and you pull the panel off. There are two spots here where there's pins that go into rubber spots on there. Over here is the oil dipstick. It's over here, so it's not like that little short thing I was telling you about. That's the actual oil dipstick. And when you go to actually check the oil level, you just stick it in like this. Don't turn it, lock it in. You just put it in that way, and you pull it out, and you check it. It has a nice oil drain hose over here. Maybe get a little closer so you can see that. There's a nice oil drain hose over here. You pull it down, you unscrew the cap, and let it drain into whatever you need it to. The air filter is here. It's also easily accessible. Just unscrew this knob and the cover comes off. Actually, there's two knobs. You unscrew both these knobs and you pull the cover off. And put this cover back on. There's these little tongue fingers that stick out. And slide it back up. Make sure you get those pins in their spots on the sides. It should slide right in. And there you go. That takes care of your little maintenance part. Also, the spark plug is in here too. That's easily accessible. The front of the panel here, we'll go over. Let's get this back here a little bit. Maybe draw more eye level as I can explain them. Over here is your L14-30 receptacle. This is the only receptacle that you can switch over to 240. And what I mean by switch over, there is an actual switch here. So when you switch over from 120 to 240, this output becomes live, and these other two don't. Now over here, under here, we've got the standard NEMA TT 30R, like for RVs, still 110 or 120, and your regular and a duplex output right there. Snap it in place. Nice covers. They keep everything out. They're very resistant. Here's your connections for paralleling to another generator. All properly labeled. Your neutral, one leg, and the other leg. There is separate circuit breakers for each of those. Over here is a standard accessory 12-volt connection right there. It has its own fuse. Actually, that fuse actually protects both of these, because this is a 5-volt USB-A type connection for charging, which takes 12 in, but it gives you 5 out. Now, I noticed on my generator, and I don't know if this is going to be out of all of them, I did give them a call and let them know about this, but when this was installed, it was 180 degrees, and in essence, the 1 amp port was actually on the top, because the labeling here, as you see, hopefully you're close enough to see this, it is labeled that the 2.1 amp is on top and the 1 amp is on the bottom. So all I did was I went in and took off these 6 screws, and the panel comes off, and you can reach underneath where this is, and there's a large nut. Unloosen it a little bit and just turn it 180 degrees, and the whole cover here with the dust cover will move with it, and then just tighten it back up. It's that simple, no big deal. And there's plenty of wire back there to just turn it 180 degrees. And then, of course, put the 6 screws back in place. Okay, over here, we've got our CO detector indicator of what's going on. It's become standard with a lot of these smaller generators. Here's your eco mode switch. Down is off, which is where you want to be when you go to start this. Here's a reset for resetting the start sequences. That's the electric start that happens, and this is a molded display meter, which will display voltage, frequency, and the runtime. To the right of it, there are multiple LEDs over here that will light up. If you've got no load on it, it will light up just by itself with 1 bar. Then you'll have another bar at 25%, another one at 50%, another one at 75%, and when you start to max out, you're at 100% load. So what I'm going to do is make sure that this is in the volt in a 240, because we're going to test both legs today. Not just a 120. We're going to take this to its limits. And down here, by the way, we've got our LP hookup, which is right there, which I'm going to show you. It's not like the kind that comes with most of the other inverter generators like Westinghouse, where you have to grab a 3/4 inch wrench to tighten the nut down on it. This is a quick disconnect connector. All right, so let's just take this and spin this around. Put that in, and we're going to get the hose for the quick disconnect. It's right here, and all we got to do is lock it in place like that. Our gas is already on waiting for us. This is the regulator, and the diaphragm on demand will acts as a gas switch once the generator is calling for fuel. Now electrically, what we're going to be using, let's take this off the stand for a second, make it easier. We have what they call a distribution. Now this is going to plug into the L1430 1430 connector on the generator, and this is what it's going to do is split the legs out. This will be with leg 1, L1, and this will be on L2. You see they're coded, the green and the reds. So what we're going to have loaded on them, so we can try and bring this up to full load, is I got 2 oil heaters. They had settings where the first switch is on, that one's on 900 or 600, and then you take them to the max, and that will bring them both, when both switches are kicked, into 1500 watts, which combined, that's 3300. So what we'll do is we'll get this one opened and put the plug in, and it's keyed so you can't get it wrong. on top. Okay. There you go. So now that's all connected there. So it's all split out. Now this extra cable that's sitting out here, this is so I can hook up some of the measurement equipment. Here, one thing I'm going to plug in, and it's at the moment it's plugged into the wall outlet, is to show us sine wave output. As you can see, utility looks just fine. And also, I'm going to plug in for my THD meter, which will be over here, and at the moment it's plugged into this line, which I'm going to change. It's showing total harmonic distortion just coming from our supplier is already up at about 2.8%. That's what you call the noise on the line. Harmonics. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to unplug this one, bring it down here to one of the lines. I'm going to take the other one from the meter, the oscilloscope, and bring that one down here too. Plug it in. Okay, there we go. Both these turned up all the way. Both these are switched off. And what we're going to do is start the generator up. And before we put any load on it, we'll let it run idle for a little bit. Oh, I'll also tell you about this. There's a pull start here besides electric. And there's a multi-position switch here, which is labeled off, fuel on, if you're using the actual liquid gas, petrol, run switch, and your choke switch. Now, in order, the instructions say when you want to start this on gas, and that's the purpose of trying to get the gas to start flowing from your source through the hose to get the diaphragm to start to open up and get fuel going, is to put this on choke and pull here about 3 to 5 times. So that's essentially what we're going to do. I'm going to put the camera back in here. Oops, sorry. Camera back in here. While we do that, and there's no switch to flip on. So this actually ends up being your switch. So we're going to pull this 3 to 5 times. I don't think we're going to need to pull it anymore. So it's just starting to kick. All right, so I'm going to put it back in run and just push the start switch. You'll see on the multiple display, it shows you your 120 and it'll show you 240 in a second, and it usually flips over on its own. So those are your cycles, 60 cycles, and runtime. Now this is 2 different run times. The A run time is for this particular session while the generator is running. When I push the button again, it'll be for the total run time since the generator was new. Got no load on it yet. Now that's just demonstrating the eco mode, which only works when you're running it in 120 volt mode. So I should be able to provoke it, depending on what which leg one of these heaters is on, to recognize that the load has increased, which means it has to increase its run speed. It's not that one, this must be this one. Oh, that's right. I forgot that outlet doesn't work when you're in 120 volt mode. So make sure these are off. I will plug one of these in to the outlet since I switched it over to 120. And it's not this one, it's this one. Now if you listen, it'll go up higher. Take on the load. Alright, so what we've got now, actually just running on 120, let's take a look at total harmonic distortion. It is up at 15 point, it keep fluctuating. Went up to 18%. I should switch lines here for you because that line's not measuring on the right line here. I want to be on the red line. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I had this not plugged in right. So right now on that line, it wasn't 18. It's only down 5.4, 0.54. Actually, it's 0.51. So it's a half a THD. We have a good looking sine wave coming out of it. So as we load it up, we're going to see what happens with the THD. So right now, like I say, we're at a half. I'm going to turn it on, put the first load up on it. Went 0.6. Turn 1500 watts up on it. 1.3. That's no load. So we go back down to 0.5. And even at full load, the sine wave is still very solid. Okay, so now we'll take our plugs and put them back in to the distribution port. start loading it up. Got one heater on 1500. Just added the other heater. We are now pulling 3,000 watts, and we are only at 75%. And if we take a look at the sine wave, it looks very solid. Look at total harmonic distortion. We are at 1.33%. Maybe 1.34. Now, if I go and grab the heat gun, I'm going to add that to the picture here. I'm going to plug that into the distribution splitter. Lights up for 75%. I'm going to turn the heater on, or the heat gun. Now I'm adding another 1,500 watts. So that means we're now pulling 4,500 watts. And the meter is saying I'm overloading it. Right there. It says I'm overloading it. I think. No, I'm wrong. That's right. The light, the other one over here, where there's a little triangle, that would mean I would be overloading it. This just means I have power. Quick surge on LP, that's not bad. So let's take the load off. And we'll let the generator cool down. The readings on it still look pretty darn good. And it dropped down to less than 0.5%. with no load. Still a picture perfect sine wave coming out. So we did hit the 4,500 watts, but it triggered a potential overload situation, like a warning, like you've hit your max. So of course, with any of these generators, whether they're inverter generators or not, I would never take them really past 75 to 85% of their capabilities. So running 3,000 to 3,500 watts, which I can't find another 500 watts, I'm sure we'd be okay with another 500, not another 1,500. That would be its max load. So given that, you let it cool down here for a second. There's three ways to shut this down. You can either go over here and turn that switch over to off, or hit the switch here that we use to start it. But I think the most preferred method by almost anybody says is just shut the fuel off. And that makes sure that the line is completely void of propane. So there's the review. Hope this helps all those looking for this brand new generator that's capable of running 240. If you can find it, buy it. That's pretty much it. Any questions, throw them in the comments section, and I'll look there every once in a while, see if anybody's got any other questions.